1 3/4 attack line. The 1 3/4 attack line can be deployed quickly. Because of this, it is an excellent line to use for interior firefighting and smaller exterior fires. Being the most commonly used attack line, it is essential that members become proficient in its use. The order is given to pull an 1 3/4 attack line. Repeat the order. After the apparatus comes to a complete stop, proceed to the crossbed. Step up onto the running board, slide an arm through the loop, and place the nozzle on the same shoulder as the loop, and turn to face the ground. Carefully step off the running board, watching for any hazards. By grasping the nozzle and loop of 1 3/4 hose together, the attack line is quickly deployed. When the location is reached, 50 feet of available working line is already in place. If additional hose is required, simply proceed to the next coupling and pull it to the nozzle. Grasp the hose behind the coupling. At this point, there is 100 feet of available working line. The amount of working line that is needed will vary from fire to fire. The key to successfully deploying an interior handline is to ensure that there is sufficient working line and that it is properly flaked out for ease of entry. Pulling a charged hose line through any structure becomes more difficult with each turn. One solution is to flake the hose out into the street in line with the door. If that is not an option, the other solution is to flake the hose on both sides of the door. This will cause the least amount of binding on the hose while going through the door. Once enough hose has been pulled, return to the nozzle. 2 hands overhead signals for the line to be charged. Before proceeding into the structure, remove the nozzle strap and set it off to the side. Make sure the nozzle remains in the off position. Maintain control of the hose by standing on it near the nozzle. Don the SCBA and wait for another member before going inside. Two and a half inch attack line, direct method. The order is given for a 2.5 inch attack line. Repeat the order. Once the apparatus stops completely, proceed to the tailboard. The rear 2.5 inch hose bed is set up with an attached nozzle and an 18 inch loop of hose extending out. Step onto the tailboard, slide an arm through the loop, place the nozzle on the same shoulder as the loop, and turn to face the ground. The blue area indicates where a direct pull will work by one firefighter. An indirect pull must be used if the angle and resistance become too great and the firefighter has no assistance. Carefully step off the tailboard, watching for any hazards. By grasping the nozzle and loop of 2.5 inch hose together, the attack line is quickly deployed. When the location is reached, 50 feet of available working line is already in place. 2 hands overhead signals for the line to be charged. Maintain control of the hose by standing on it near the nozzle. The nozzle must be in the off position. Ensure that the engineer has acknowledged your call for water. Don the SCBA and wait for an additional member to join before proceeding with fire attack. There are 2 hose straps attached at the nozzle. This allows the nozzle member and the backup firefighter to both strap in. They position on opposite sides of the hose for maximum stability. Two and a half inch attack line, indirect method. The fire location is in front of the apparatus. The order is for a 2.5 inch handline. The firefighter repeats the order. Once the apparatus stops completely, proceed to the tailboard while sizing up how much hose is needed. The rear 2.5 inch hose bed is set up with an attached nozzle and an 18 inch loop of hose extending out. Slide an arm through the loop, place the nozzle on the same shoulder as the loop, and turn to face the ground. For a direct pull, the hose cannot bind while pulling it from the hose bed. The blue area indicates where a direct pull will work by one firefighter. An indirect pull must be used here since the angle and resistance would be too great and the firefighter has no assistance. Extend the line until the next coupling clears the hose bed. Place the nozzle on the side opposite the fire. The folds are placed building toward the fire. The two are spaced slightly apart. At this point, there is 100 feet of hose on the ground. Starting with the nozzle end, each coupling is counted as 50 feet. This makes it simple to keep track of how much hose is being pulled. Return back to the engine, grasp the hose behind the next coupling, place the hose on the shoulder closest to the nozzle. This prevents from tripping over the hose. The fold is placed next to the first one, again building toward the fire side. There is now 150 feet on the ground. Return to the engine and continue until the required length of hose has been pulled. In this instance, 200 feet is being pulled. There is now 200 feet on the ground. To now extend the line, step between the nozzle and the loops. Reaching down, place the nozzle on one shoulder and the first two loops on the other shoulder. A maximum of 2 loops should be carried. Turn toward the fire and extend the line. As the line is pulled tight, a fold will be dropped. When the location is reached, 50 feet of available working line is already in place. Secure the nozzle. 2 hands overhead signals for the line to be charged. Always maintain control of the hose by standing on it near the nozzle. The nozzle must be in the off position. Remove any kinks in the line prior to advancing the nozzle. There are 2 hose straps attached at the nozzle. This allows for 2 firefighters to both strap in. Unhook both straps from over the nozzle tip and slide one back for the backup firefighter. When there are 2 firefighters on the line, they position on opposite sides for maximum stability.